After winning the summer championship, there was no sign of my contract renewal. Yet I discovered a withdrawal request from the team with the submitter's name boldly written as my girlfriend, Elena. I stormed into her office like a madman, demanding an explanation. From ranking at the bottom of the league to winning the summer title, I endured my old injuries, forcing myself to play under pressure, my wrists wrapped tight in kinesiology tape. As the team's coach, she couldn't possibly be unaware. But she merely chuckled, brushing it off as if nothing happened. Just a joke. Mickey and I made a bet on whether you'd notice before the deadline. Looks like I won. Mickey, the rookie she insisted on signing against everyone's objections. I swallowed my rage. And you two thought it was okay to use me as a bet. She frowned, her tone filled with irritation. It's not like you can't cancel it yourself in the system. What's the big deal? So this was it. The starting position I fought for with everything I had was nothing more than a casual wager in her eyes. Chapter 1. What's the big deal? I couldn't believe my ears. Elena, be honest with yourself. If the one who submitted the resignation request today was Mickey, would you still say what's the big deal? All the rush, all the anger I'd been holding onto vanished in an instant, leaving only a chilling coldness spreading from the pit of my stomach. My throat bobbed 3 times before I could barely squeeze out a sound, trembling even in my own ears. Elena, have you ever thought about what would have happened if I hadn't noticed in time? Maybe my voice sounded too hoarse because she finally looked up, her brows furrowed slightly, impatience flickering faintly across her face. But when her gaze swept over the dark circles under my eyes and the kinesiology tape on my wrist, her eyes flickered. Her lips pressed tight, and her fingers unconsciously crumpled the sticky note at the edge of the desk. That was her tell. She always did that when she felt guilty but couldn't bring herself to apologize. A fragile spark of hope rose in my chest. Maybe she'd just been impulsive. Maybe she was already regretting it. But that tiny flame of hope was snuffed out the moment she spoke again. You said it yourself. Instead of wasting time arguing with me here, why don't you just hurry back and withdraw your request? I took a deep breath, forcing down the bitterness clogging my throat. Elena, Mickey's move was a breach of authority. I can go straight to the boss, file an appeal with the league. The words had barely left my mouth when Elena let out a cold laugh. An appeal. Her face darkened instantly, every trace of warmth gone. Augustine, are you insane? It was just a joke. Mickey just joined the team. She's young. Can't you be a little more forgiving? She got too worked up. It was just emotional venting toward me in the end. How many times have I told you I was the one who signed him? I am responsible for him. What's wrong with me taking care of him? Do you really have to cling to this like a dog with a bone? Compete with a rookie? You're being completely unreasonable. I can't even talk to you. Her voice suddenly rose as she pointed toward the office door. Fuck off. I froze as if I were seeing her for the first time. She once swore, no matter how bad our fights got, she would never say that word, because her father had screamed it at her mother once. Her mother filed for divorce the next day and never came back. I stared at her, searching her eyes for even a hint of a joke, but all I found was cold impatience. And something else, a trace of disgust I had never seen before. The tape on my wrist suddenly felt too tight, squeezing until my fingertips went numb. I remembered the summer finals, the last team fight. When it ended and I took off my headset, the first person I saw was her. She ran over, threw her arms around me, tears soaking into my jersey as she shouted, Augustine, we did it. Her embrace had been so warm back then. How could her words now be so cold? I stood there, staring at her tense profile, and suddenly the strength that had been keeping me standing, arguing, collapsed all at once. I was so tired. All right, I finally spoke, my voice so calm it startled even me. I'll go, not just out of the office, but out of the team. I'll leave it all behind, just like you wanted. Chapter 2. Back in my room, the computer screen still showed the resignation form. Because of it, the system's automatic renewal process had been stuck. Elena wasn't wrong. If I clicked withdraw request now, it would be as if nothing had ever happened. The mouse pointer hovered over the withdraw button, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't press it, until a knock on the door dragged me back to reality. The door opened. It was Mickey. Augustine, He was wearing the team uniform, that usual innocent expression plastered across his face. Elena asked me to call you to the meeting room. She said there's a discussion about starting lineup adjustments for the new season. He paused, like he'd just remembered something, his tone taking on that false, kindly concern. I just saw Elena. She didn't look too happy. Did you two argue? Was it about that bet? If you want to blame someone, blame me. It all started because of that bet between me and her. Don't stay mad at Elena, all right? He sounded like he was admitting fault, but every word carried the implication that I was being petty and overreacting. The smugness and mockery in his eyes weren't even well hidden, yet he still insisted on pretending to be all harmless and pure. I looked at him coldly, disgust rising like bile in my throat. Elena, what on earth did you see in this kind of guy? When the rookie training program ended, Mickey hadn't ranked high. Elena went against everyone's opinion and insisted on signing him. I had questioned her decision. She'd hooked her arm through mine and said it was because Mickey's gaze on the stage reminded her of me back then. She wanted to give him a chance, just like she'd once given me. Because of that, I'd kept a special eye on them. But although Elena said she admired his potential, she treated him no differently from any other player. Later, she even complained about him. She said he was unstable, that he lost focus under pressure, that he lacked awareness of the bigger picture. She admitted she'd misjudged him and said he was nothing like me. Until 2 months ago, during the group stage, Elena's new strategy had been completely detached from reality. After 3 consecutive losses, the team fell into the losers bracket. One more loss, and we'd miss the playoffs altogether. I realized we couldn't go on like that. So, in the next match, I overturned her strategy and led us to our first win. When the game ended, unlike the others who were celebrating, Elena's expression was complicated. Why did you change the strategy? I thought she was just asking out of curiosity, so I told her the truth. But her next words were, I'll let it go this time. But I'm the coach. As a player, your job is to execute, not to make unilateral decisions. I frowned and pushed back. Elena, this is esports, not following a script. Things change by the second. We have to adapt. The ones actually in the game, we know best what works. She was so angry she threw her notebook to the floor, her voice rising sharply. Augustine, you're arrogant. What if we had lost? Who would have taken responsibility then? I would. I met her gaze, unflinching. That day we parted on bad terms. But since we'd won, public opinion praised us and management called Elena in for a talk. She had no choice but to keep me as a starter. On the day we won the championship, I took off my headset and looked up. She was already running toward me. She wrapped me in a tight hug, tears soaking into my jersey. Augustine, we did it. I thought that argument had been just a small bump in our story. But that was only my wishful thinking. Later, I learned that after that fight, Mickey had stayed with her, comforting her. Even after everyone left, he kept texting her. And from then on, Elena grew closer and closer to him. Mickey started bringing her breakfast, and she stopped refusing. She began developing strategies centered around him. Eventually, even our teammates joked that Elena was ready to replace me. Every time I heard it, my face would darken. Elena never stopped them. She'd just laugh and hold up 3 fingers, swearing, don't listen to their nonsense. I swear you're the only one in my heart. Liar. Chapter 3. Seeing me stay silent, the smugness in Mickey's eyes deepened. Augustine, are you still mad? Before I could respond, the sharp click of high heels echoed down the hallway. Elena hurried over, her eyes going straight to Mickey first. Her tone was full of concern. What are you doing here? Then she turned toward me, her brows instantly knitting together. Augustine, are you giving Mickey a hard time again? Mickey quickly waved his hands, pretending to defend me. Elena, don't misunderstand. I came to find Augustine myself. He lowered his head as if afraid of angering me, his voice soft and pitiful. I just thought something as important as the lineup rotation should also include Augustine's opinion. Elena's expression softened immediately. I'm the coach. Adjusting the roster is my responsibility. I don't need anyone's approval. Some people think that winning 1 or 2 championships gives them the right to bully others. But if that's the case, don't blame me for being harsh. As she said it, her cold gaze flicked toward me. In that moment, I finally understood she had never forgiven me for changing the strategy that day. And this whole bet, Mickey's unauthorized resignation submission, it was her revenge. If I gave up and stopped fighting, I'd earn her so-called forgiveness. But why? Why should I sacrifice my career just to win her mercy? I shook my head. Elena, you're beyond saving. Her face went pale, her voice rising sharply. Augustine, do you have to be so petty and aggressive? She took a deep breath, then suddenly let out a mocking laugh. I was still hesitating before, but now I see it clearly. Replacing you as starter was the right decision. With that temper of yours, you don't even deserve to step onto the stage. It felt like something heavy slammed right into my chest. The dull ache spread through my veins to every corner of my body, and even breathing stung. The person who once told me I'd be the next world champion was now saying I didn't even deserve to compete. Who did she think she was? A judge? Whether I could play or not wasn't for her to decide. My fists clenched tight, knuckles whitening as I glared at Elena. In the end, she was the first to look away. I knew she did that because she remembered us. Back when neither of us was wanted by any team, we relied on each other day after day, climbed to the peak together, and survived every low point, never once letting go. But this time, she truly wanted to throw me away. No matter how many trophies I brought home, the only one she wanted now was Mickey. Augustine, Mickey's not like you. He's forgiving. If you just lower your head and apologize, this whole thing can be over. Her voice softened slightly, but it still carried that tone of command. 5 years as teammates, 3 years in love, and all it took was one argument and a few comforting words from someone else for everything to be undone. My expression turned cold again. Keep dreaming. Elena's face darkened even more. Augustine, you're so stubborn. Stubborn? Fine. Let her think that. All my desire to argue, all my strength had already drained away. Think whatever you want. With a loud bang, I slammed the door shut and locked it, not caring whether they'd get hit or not. I stared at the resignation form on the screen. The countdown showed 40 minutes left before the request would become irreversible. My fingertip hesitated for a moment, then pressed withdraw. The system automatically pulled up the renewal contract. I moved the cursor over to do not renew. I wasn't going to leave the team over some ridiculous bet, but I also wasn't going to stay in a team that made such a ridiculous bet. I checked the date when my contract would expire. Then I opened my phone and sent a message to someone who'd been pestering me about a transfer just yesterday. Need a shot caller? My contract's ending soon. No transfer fee required. The reply came almost instantly, a flood of excited messages. Yes, 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 yes. Wait there, I'll prep the contract now. If you're joking, I swear I'll hunt you down. Ding, the new team's contract arrived. I let out a slow breath. Turns out leaving SCG, leaving Elena, wasn't as painful as I thought. In fact, it almost felt liberating. Even the ache in my wrist seemed to ease for a moment. I remembered how I'd once smiled and said, I'm going to take SCG to the World Championship with Elena. Looking back now, that sounded like a joke. After signing the digital contract, I started packing my things. Then my phone buzzed again. It was my childhood friend. The first 2 messages were voice notes, both full of shouting and swearing. His tone was frantic, like he was about to explode. Augustine, check the video I just sent you now. Chapter 4. Everyone from SCG is here except you. And Elena's stuck to Mickey like they're Siamese twins. A video popped up right after the messages. The camera was shaky. It was obvious my childhood friend was hiding in some corner while recording. Neon lights flickered over the booth my teammates were sitting in a circle. Mickey was pressed right next to Elena in the middle, their arms almost touching. Someone shouted over the noise. Elena, truth or dare? Another voice chimed in with a teasing laugh. Dare. If you pick dare, you have to do one of 2 things. Either drink a cross cup with any guy here, or make Augustine say I was wrong. The room erupted with louder laughter and cheers. Everyone knew about our fight that morning, and they were clearly enjoying the show. Mickey turned to Elena, a hint of eager anticipation in his eyes. Elena's cheeks flushed, her brows furrowed slightly. After a brief pause, She finally pulled out her phone. Mickey's smile froze instantly. My phone rang. I picked up but said nothing. The background noise on her end was chaotic. Maybe she'd been drinking. Her words slurred, her tone unusually soft. Augustine, I was too worked up this morning. I'm giving you one last chance. Just tell Mickey I was wrong, and I'll put you back in the starting lineup. I'll pretend none of this ever happened. A short, cold laugh escaped me. Elena, let me make this clear one last time. I will never apologize to him, not even if I die. Elena's fury ignited instantly. Fine, Augustine, you've got guts. If you have a nerve then, I didn't let her finish. I hung up. She called again. I hung up again. The third time I blocked her. And just like that, the world went silent. A moment later, another video popped up from my friend. In the clip, Elena looked furious, humiliated by the fact that I'd blocked her. She suddenly slammed her glass onto the floor. The shattering sound cut through the music as shards and liquor scattered everywhere. The crowd's laughter died down, fading into uneasy quiet. Then Mickey stepped forward first, reaching for her arm, his voice trembling. Elena, don't be mad. Let's stop playing. Stop? Why should we stop? Elena pointed at one of the teammates. Record this. Go on. Record it. Let Augustine open his eyes and see. I, Elena, am not his and his alone. And with that, she yanked Mickey toward her and kissed him right there in front of everyone. Even though I'd already decided to end things, my chest still tightened instinctively at the sight. But that suffocating pain, strangely enough, it began to ease a moment later. I sent a message to my friend. I'm going to City A. Whatever happens with her from now on, it's none of my business. Then I turned off my phone. I didn't expect that same night Elena would show up at my door, reeking of alcohol. I saw the system. You withdrew your resignation request. I raised an eyebrow at her, silent. If she saw that, she must have also seen the transfer notice. So why was she really here? I knew it. You couldn't bring yourself to leave, Augustine. You can't live without SCG or without me. Apologize to Mickey and I'll reinstate you as a starter. Her words made me pause for half a second. Then I let out a cold laugh and shut the door right in her face. By the next morning, Elena was gone. After that night, she and I fell into complete silence, cold, suffocating silence. It stayed that way until the day before I was set to leave. That afternoon, the team manager came to find me, looking awkward. Augustine, Elena said she's holding a celebration party tonight. She wants all team members to attend. I frowned. A celebration party? But we already had one after the summer championship. I shook my head. I'll pass. The manager looked uneasy, opening his mouth to persuade me. Elena, specifically. Manager. I interrupted evenly. My contract expires today. Technically, by the time that party starts, I won't even be a member of this team. And with that, I turned around and walked away. The moment my plane landed, my phone buzzed. It was my childhood friend, sounding exasperated. Augustine, Elena showed up at my house. She's demanding to see you. I told her you're not here, but she doesn't believe me. She's literally waiting outside my door. She's lost it, man. Still has the nerve to ask where you went. I frowned. Just tell her I already left for City A. Not long after, another call came through. It was Justin again, this time furious. Elena's out of her mind. I told her you went to City A, and she forced her way into my house. Through the receiver, I could faintly hear Elena shouting in the background. Justin, stop pretending. Why would Augustine go to City A alone? He's definitely hiding here. Make him come out and talk to me. Justin snapped back, voice dripping with sarcasm. Elena, quit acting clueless. Why else would Augustine go to City A? Obviously, to join his new team. Didn't you check the system? You do know he didn't renew, right? Justin's words hit Elena like an ice-cold blade, stabbing straight into her ears. She froze her knuckles, turning pale from the force of her grip. For a moment, she even forgot how to breathe. Why you? What are you talking about? Her voice trembled, thin and unsteady. She could hear the desperation herself, the hollow bravado beneath it. I saw it with my own eyes. The system showed that Augustine withdrew his resignation. It said he didn't leave. Justin let out a dry laugh, swiping across his screen before turning it toward her. On the glowing display was a forum post pinned to the top of an esports gossip site. Its title was a slap in the face. Breaking, SCG's championship shot caller Augustine has officially joined City A's TMW team after contract expiration. The timestamp showed it had been posted that morning. Attached below was a dimly lit photo of a contract signing. Though the lighting was poor, she recognized that side profile instantly. It was him. Elena, do you only see what you want to see? Augustine didn't withdraw his resignation to stay. He did it so the system could process his contract properly before leaving your damn team. Justin folded his arms, a smirk curling at his lips, sarcasm dripping from his tone. You're not new to this world. You know exactly what it means when news like this gets posted. The words shattered whatever fragile defense she had left. Elena staggered back, hitting the cold steel door behind her. A chill crept up her spine. Her mind was a chaotic blur, flashes of the past few days, her shouting, "Get out!" at him, forcing him to apologize to Mickey, kissing Mickey in the bar just to spite him. Even last night, running to his room, finding it empty, asking the manager who told her he'd already left, she still clung to that tiny, foolish hope. She thought he was just being stubborn, that he'd come back like he always did. But now that photo, the proof of his new team, was like a slap, hot and merciless, across her face. Her hands trembled as she dug out her phone. She mistyped her passcode 3 times before finally getting in. The screen loaded painfully slow, each second stretching out like torture. Then at last, the page appeared. The contract status glared back at her in bright red letters. No renewal. Process completed. No, that's impossible. She whispered, tears spilling before she could stop them, splashing onto the phone screen. He said he'd take SCG to the World Championship with me. How could he just leave? Justin's tone softened a little, though annoyance lingered. He said a lot of things, Elena. How many of them did you actually listen to? Who treated his resignation like a joke? Who told him he didn't even deserve to play? Elena, you're the one who pushed him away. Elena said nothing, just clutched her phone tighter. Then a memory struck, the day of the summer finals right before the match. The red veins in Augustine's eyes, the kinesiology tape covering his wrist. He'd smiled and said, Elena, we're one step closer to the World Championship. And she had only been thinking about their tactical disagreement. He can't leave. SCG can't lose him. Her voice broke. Then she lifted her head, eyes wild with panic and resolve. Without another word, she turned and bolted for the stairs. Her heels clattered against the steps, sharp and frantic. I'm going to find him. Justin watched her figure disappear down the stairwell, sighed helplessly, and pulled out his phone. He typed a quick message to Augustine. Elena says she's heading to City A to find you. Be careful. Chapter 6. Outside the car window, the scenery shifted from the airport expressway to the glow of city neon. City A's night was brighter and colder than I'd imagined. Leaning against the window, I felt a familiar ache in my wrist. The old injury always liked to remind me it was still there, especially when I least wanted it to. But somewhere deep inside, the tension that had been wound tight for months finally began to loosen. The TMW base was far grander than SCG's, a standalone villa that radiated the confidence of a top-tier esports organization. Its logo glowed a sharp, cold blue in the night, like the eyes of a beast waiting to strike. The moment I stepped out of the car, a figure came briskly toward me. Finally, was the traffic bad? It was Max, TMW's manager. His voice over the phone had been warm, but in person he was even more energetic, grabbing my suitcase with a grin. Come on, let's get you settled in. The team's been waiting, especially Zoe. She's been talking about you all afternoon. Zoe. The name made my steps falter almost imperceptibly. When we were kids, we lived in the same housing complex. She used to trail behind me, calling Augustine Gidge. Whenever our parents weren't home, I'd sneak her onto my computer to play games. I'd teach her the basics, but she'd never stay focused. Her character would get caught and killed while she complained, "It's the keyboard's fault." Later in my senior year of high school, when I decided to go pro, my parents were furious. She was the one who quietly stuffed all her pocket money into my hands and said, "I believe in you. You'll be a champion someday." Looking back now, she was the first person who ever believed I could win. As we walked through the hallways, Max filled the silence with introductions and small talk. Eventually, he stopped in front of the door and pushed it open. "This one's yours. Best view in the house. Quiet, too. Perfect for someone who needs to think like you do." The room was spacious, everything brand new, a clear upgrade from what I'd had at SCG. Through the window, the city skyline stretched along the river, the lights winding into the distance like a trail of stars. "Thanks, Max." He clapped me on the shoulder. "Don't mention it. Get settled in. Dinner's in half an hour. Official welcome meal." When he left, the room fell into a heavy silence. I stood there for a while, taking it all in. From a moment I discovered that resignation request to the fight with Elena to my decision to leave, it had only been a few days. And yet everything had changed. The place I thought I'd stay until retirement. I'd left it behind so easily. The person I thought I couldn't live without. Turns out, even after losing her, my heart just felt numb. Not shattered, not broken, just dull and quiet. I was almost done unpacking when someone knocked softly at the door. I figured Max had come to hurry me along, but when I opened it, a tall figure leaned casually against the doorframe. Zoe stood there in a TMW jacket, her long hair tied loosely behind her head. A familiar yet faintly different smile tugged at her lips, her eyes bright as they swept over me from head to toe. Well, Augustine, our great shot caller, finally decided to bless TMW with his presence. Chapter 7. I looked at her, momentarily dazed. The little girl who once trailed behind me, wiping away tears when she lost a game, had now become one of the league's brightest stars, a player capable of carrying a team on her own. "What do you mean, bless you with our presence?" I stepped aside to let her in. "I just needed a place to eat." "Oh, please." She walked into the room, her gaze sweeping around unceremoniously. "Someone like you, Augustine, with no place to go? Who believed that?" She paused deliberately, a glint of mischief flashing in her eyes. We hadn't kept much contact over the years. School tournaments. Life had kept us busy. It wasn't until last season when she made her dazzling debut on TMW and quickly became their core player that we crossed paths again through league matches. But it was only the occasional nod before a game or a polite holiday message. Now, seeing her here under these circumstances, it stirred something bittersweet. "Our coach has been waiting for you to show up," she said lightly. "So, settling in okay?" "Yeah." I nodded. "The base is great. And the people?" she asked, one eyebrow raised. I hesitated, then smiled faintly. "Just got here. Haven't met them yet." Zoe nodded knowingly, choosing not to press further. She walked over to the window, staring out at the riverside skyline. With her back to me, her voice dropped softer. "I've been trying to get you to come for an entire season," she said quietly. "Didn't think you'd actually do it." "Neither did I." Silence hung between us for a moment. Then she turned around, her expression serious for the first time that evening. "Augustine, welcome to TMW." She paused, eyes steady and burning. "We need you here." I understood the weight behind those words. TMW, once a dominant force, had stumbled in recent years. What they lacked was a field leader, someone who could bring order to chaos. And me, I needed a place to begin again. I was about to respond when her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, then silenced it with a tap. "Dinner's ready," she said. "Come on, let me show you what real food tastes like. Way better than SCG's cafeteria." The dining hall was lively, laughter echoing off the walls. The long table was filled with players and staff, and Max waved me over enthusiastically. Zoe naturally sat beside me, introducing each teammate one by one, who played which role, what their strengths were, their quirks and habits. The atmosphere was warm and easy. As the meal went on, the team started asking about my old matches, my strategy calls, my thought process. The conversation flowed naturally, without tension or hidden agendas. I could feel it. This was genuine respect, pure anticipation. Not politics, not rivalry, just teammates who wanted to win. But in the middle of the laughter, a staff member from the front desk quietly approached Max and whispered something in his ear. Max nodded, his smile fading slightly. Then he looked across the table at me, expression uncertain. "Augustine," he said slowly, "the front desk says someone's here to see you." Chapter 8. As I followed the front desk staff downstairs, a faint guess began to take shape in my mind, and when I reached the lobby, it was confirmed. Standing by the entrance was Elena. Her hair was loosely tied, a few messy strands sticking to her cheeks. There were red veins in her eyes, and the sharp, composed coach of SCG was nowhere to be seen. "Augustine." The moment she saw me, she rushed forward, reaching for my arm. "Why did you leave without saying anything? SCG's waiting for you to come back. You signed with TMW. Was that your plan all along?" I sidestepped her hand, my tone calm, almost detached. "I left through the normal contract expiration process. That's not leaving without notice. As for signing with TMW, that was a decision I made after leaving SCG. It has nothing to do with you." I paused, meeting her eyes. "Besides, you were the one who helped submit my resignation, remember? So what's wrong now that things turn out just like you wanted?" "Like I wanted?" Her voice rose sharply, drawing glances from a few staff nearby. "Augustine, do you even have a heart? Did you forget the day we won the summer championship? You said we'd go to the world championship together. Did you forget who fought for you to be SCG's starter when everyone else doubted you? It was just a joke, and you actually left." Her eyes were full of tears and accusation, but to me, those memories had long turned into cold ashes. I looked at her. "Elena, are you seriously blaming me? Was I the one who treated my resignation like a joke? Was I the one who gambled my career away with Mickey? It was you, Elena. You're the one who told me to get out. You're the one who trampled everything we had under your own feet. And now you think you get to tell me I don't have a heart?" Her face went pale. Her lips trembled, but no words came out. After a few seconds, her tone softened, breaking into a sob. "Augustine, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have argued with you like that. Please come back. You can have your starting spot again. We'll go back to how things were. Go back." I let out a short laugh, dry and bitter. The smile didn't reach my eyes. "All right then, transfer Mickey to the second team." Elena froze. Her expression wavered, torn, but no words left her mouth. I sneered softly. "You can't, can you? You used to say you'd never gamble with my career. And now look at you, Elena. Do you really think we can go back to the way things were?" Her tears fell freely as she reached out, trying to touch my wrist, but before she could, another voice cut through the air. "Funny, you're the one who pushed him out, and now you're here, crying for sympathy. What do you think? TMW is your backyard. You could just walk in and take what you want." Zoe. I hadn't even noticed her coming down the stairs. She was holding my water bottle, her eyes cold as ice as she walked to stand beside me. "When Augustine was fighting through pain with that injured wrist, you didn't care. You were too busy playing stupid bets with Mickey. And now that he's finally doing fine here, you show up to cause drama. You're not here to win him back, Elena. You're just scared. Scared that without Augustine, your precious SCG will crumble. Stay out of this." Elena snapped, her voice cracking. "This is between me and Augustine. I'm TMW's captain." Zoe shot back, her voice steady but sharp. "And I'm Augustine's teammate." She handed me the water bottle, her lips curling into a mocking smile. "Not like you, who couldn't appreciate a world-class shot caller when she had one, and chose instead to protect that useless rookie, Mickey. Now you want him back. Life doesn't work that way." Elena's face flushed red, then white, trembling with rage. "Stop talking nonsense," she shouted, shoving forward with her hand outstretched. But I caught her wrist before she could touch Zoe, gripping just firmly enough to make her stop. "Elena," I said quietly, "don't make a scene here." She stumbled back a step, steadying herself. Then her composure broke completely. "Fine," she cried, her voice hoarse. "Then come with me. I won't make a scene if you come back. SCG needs you." Zoe frowned, already pulling out her phone. "Hello, security? There's someone causing a disturbance in the lobby. Please come handle it." Elena turned to me one last time, desperation clouding her eyes. "Augustine, please, I'm begging you." "Elena." I cut her off, my tone final. I'm doing well at TMW. Let's stop here. No more meetings, no more messages. Not just SCG. I paused, looking her straight in the eye. We're over. In the end, security escorted Elena out of the TMW base. Her figure staggered as she walked away, disheveled and broken, like a stray dog that had lost its way home. Zoe tilted her head toward me, her tone light again. You okay? I shook my head. I'm fine. She shrugged. Good. Come on, dinner's not even finished. People like her aren't worth losing your appetite over. Time passed quickly. A month later, the autumn regular season began. Enemies are bound to cross paths, they say, and that perfectly described what was about to happen. TMW's very first match was against SCG. In the hallway before the game, the two teams met face to face. Mickey stood next to Elena, flashing me a smug, provocative grin. Elena's expression was more complicated: resentment, unwillingness, and something else hidden deeper. But I was long past the point of caring enough to decipher it. Well, if it isn't the great Augustine, Mickey sneered. How's it feel clinging to TMW's thigh? Comfortable. A few of his teammates joined in the mockery. Yeah, must be nice. Pretty boy like you always lands on his feet, huh? Before I could respond, Xiao Su, our top laner, cut in immediately. Funny hearing that from you SCG clowns, he shot back. I still remember your flash-into-wall feed move against Team XY last split. I've got the clip saved on my phone for when I need a laugh. And hey, another TMW teammate added with a grin. SCG's already lost 2 matches this season, right? One more, and you drop to the losers bracket. Maybe worry about yourselves first. Without Augustine carrying your sorry asses like a battleship, you think you could still pull off some miracle comeback like last summer? I finally spoke, my tone calm but cutting. Let's settle it on the stage. Unlike some people who only get to play when the starter's injured. Mickey's face went crimson. He opened his mouth to retort, but nothing came out. Zoe, beside me, let out a short, amused laugh. She tossed her hair over her shoulder, her gaze sliding lazily over Elena and Mickey. Coach Elena, she said with mock politeness, maybe keep your players in check. Trash talk's only impressive when you've actually earned the right to do it. Your golden boy here only made the starting lineup through connections while our team paid top dollar for a world champion shot caller. You really think those are in the same league? Elena's knuckles went white around her tactical clipboard, her fingers trembling slightly. Her eyes locked onto mine, desperate to find a flicker of hesitation, a hint of regret. But there was none. I met her stare with steady calm. Nothing left, not anger, not sorrow, just distance. The person who once had the power to shake my entire world now felt like nothing more than a stranger. Let's go, I said to my teammates. We turned and headed toward the stage entrance, leaving SCG behind. The roar of the crowd and the blinding stage lights grew louder with every step. A new chapter was beginning. This match, I wasn't just going to win. I was going to show everyone that leaving SCG was the best decision I'd ever made. Chapter 10. The players took their seats and put on noise-canceling headphones. The deafening cheers from the crowd faded instantly, leaving only the steady thump of my heartbeat. I adjusted the equipment. The cold metal beneath my fingertips felt familiar, dependable. Flexing my wrist, I felt a faint heat from the old injury beneath the kinesiology tape. It was no longer a burden, but rather a silent whip urging me forward. Across the stage, I could feel the complicated gazes from the SCG players' area. Resentment, unwillingness, and perhaps a trace of regret too faint to name. I knew exactly who it came from, but I didn't look back. The BP phase began. Elena's tactics still bore traces of imitating my former style. Yet her imitation was crude and clumsy, trying to make Mickey the offensive core while neglecting the rhythm and margin of error for the team. TMW's coaching staff had done their homework thoroughly, and Zoe knew Elena's patterns like the back of her hand. Stick to the plan, I said into the mic in a low, steady voice. Got it, my teammates responded, their excitement barely contained. In the first game, SCG attempted to invade the jungle with their early game power, but my pre-placed vision caught them red-handed. Counter gank, flank, collapse, instant wipeout. Mickey's mechanics fell apart under my precise predictions, and the team's synchronized focus fire. His desperation to prove himself became his greatest flaw. My commands were sharp and concise. The economic snowball rolled fast. Under relentless pressure, SCG's formation completely disintegrated. At the 20-minute mark, as the enemy nexus exploded, TMW claimed the first victory. 1 o'clock. The roar from the TMW fans nearly shook the arena. The camera panned to SCG's booth. Mickey's face was pale as paper. Elena gripped the tactical board, lips pressed tight, brows knotted in frustration. In the second game, SCG changed tactics, trying to stall for the late game. But TMW's map control was airtight, stripping every resource from their grasp. I led the team like a surgical blade, cutting through SCG's defenses with precision. Zoe's assassin moved like a ghost through the openings I created, each strike hitting straight at the heart. The collapse came during a pivotal Baron fight. SCG's coordination fell apart at the worst moment. I seized the fleeting chance and called the perfect engage. A clean 0-4-5. SCG had no fight left in them. 2 o'clock. The arena was now a sea of TMW fans in ecstatic celebration. On SCG's side, silence hung heavy. Elena seemed to be shouting instructions, her tone urgent, but her players' eyes were glazed, their spirit already shattered. The third game had no suspense left. SCG's play was falling apart, their mentality completely broken. It was a one-sided slaughter. By the 15-minute mark, the gold gap had reached 10,000. At 15 minutes, with a massive wave and the Baron buff in hand, TMW stormed the base and ended it in one decisive push. 3 o'clock, clean, efficient, a total and utter domination. The moment the enemy nexus exploded, my teammates pulled off their headsets, cheering and high-fiving in exhilaration. I leaned back slowly against my chair and let out a long breath. A dull ache pulsed from my wrist, yet inside all I felt was a deep, steady calm, a sense of release. We stood up and walked toward the SCG player's booth for the post-match handshake. Mickey kept his head down, avoiding my gaze. His fingertips were cold when they touched mine. When it was Elena's turn, she looked at me with a complicated expression. Her lips parted slightly as if she wanted to say something. But in the end, she only extended her hand stiffly, gave a quick, trembling shake, and withdrew. I didn't stop. I turned and walked to the center of the stage, stepping into the spotlight and the waves of cheers that belonged to TMW. In that moment, I knew I had truly walked out of the past, named SCG and Elena. After that, TMW advanced like an unstoppable force, charging into the finals as the top-seeded team. In the championship match, we faced another veteran powerhouse, but our form was blazing and our coordination flawless. Another perfect 3 o'clock victory. Golden confetti rained down in glittering waves as the trophy was lifted high, its weight solid, unfamiliar, and entirely new. Meanwhile, SCG, having lost their core shot caller and tactical soul, fell apart completely. They struggled through the losers bracket for a few miserable rounds before being eliminated, never even touching the threshold of the finals. Rumor had it that Elena was harshly questioned by upper management and eventually dismissed. As for Mickey, the public tore him apart beyond repair. But all of that, none of it had anything to do with me anymore. I looked up at the golden streamers falling like rain, the deafening chants of TMW roaring in my ears. A new dynasty was only just beginning.